Today we're going to be learning about rate, ratio, and also about conversions, okay? So we're going to start today's lesson 2.6, and this is what we're going to be studying. In the other class, we had an introduction about the objectives and the icon statements, and we also review a little bit about the vocabulary words. Now see, one important vocabulary word is ratio. Okay, ratio is to compare two numbers by division. Okay, when we are comparing two numbers by division, we use two things to compare, and we use a division to show that comparison. Okay, let's say, for example, if I want to compare the number of students in a class, I'm going to take you guys as an example, and let's say that there are 28 students in this section. Okay, let's say that there are 15 boys. Okay, we have 15 boys and there are 13 girls. Okay, if we want to compare these two informations, boys and girls, we can use a division that will show a comparison between both of them. Okay, we can say 15 to 13, and here we're comparing boys and girls. But this is not the only way that we can compare. We can also compare using words. We can say 15 to 13, okay? And we're saying that there are 15 boys to 13 girls, okay? We can also use two dots to show the comparison between both. 15 boys to 13 girls, and this is ratio, okay? Then we have the word rate. Okay, rate is an example of a ratio. A ratio compares quantities measured in different units. So that means we're still talking about a ratio, we're still comparing two numbers, but we are using different quantities measured in different units. Now see, when we talk about units, we are talking about, in this case, for example, kilometer is a unit of length, and hours, that is a unit of time. We are comparing 120 to 2, okay? And these are the units, okay? In this case, this is a recipe of anything, and we are comparing two quantities. We're comparing this 3 with this 4, but we're using different units. In this case, we're using cups, and in this case, we're using liters. This is our units, okay? They are different types of units, okay? Here we have another example. We have 450 pounds to 240 milliliters. Again, we are comparing, see, we are comparing two things, and we're using different units. The units that we're using here are pounds, and the units that we're using here are milliliters. And the last example over here, we're comparing, for example, 1 kilo against 50 pounds. That means this to this. The units that we're using here, it's a kilo, and here it's a pound, okay? Usually when we're measuring length, we use kilometers, we use meters, we use yards. And when we're talking about time, we can use hours, minutes, seconds. When we're talking about liquids, like water, we can use liters or milliliters. We also use a lot pounds and kilograms and ounces and grams. All of those are examples of units, okay? And then we have unit rate. A unit rate is an example of a rate. It's a rate. The only difference is that we use a denominator of 1. Okay, when we have a rate that has a denominator of 1, that is a unit rate. Okay, here we have some examples. Let's say that we want to describe or to find which store offers the best deal, and we have 3 options. We did an example using dollars. Today we're going to use an example using lemps. Let's say this store will give you 5 shirts for 350 lempiras. This one will have 160 lempiras. They will give you 2 shirts, and in this one, 240, they will give you 4 shirts. Which one will be the best deal? To find which one will be the best deal, it's better to find the unit rate, okay? When we find the unit rate, we are going to find out how much each shirt costs. Let's say, for example, here, to find out how much each shirt costs, we would have to divide 350 divided by 5. Okay, here we have a 7, 35, and then we bring the 0 down. This will be a 0, and that's how we end up knowing that each shirt, that means each shirt will cost 70 less, okay? The same way I did this to find out the unit rate, I will do this other way. I will also divide 160 divided by 2. And this will give me, as you can see, this will give me 8, okay? That means every shirt in this store, based on this information, will be 80, okay? And then we're gonna do the last one, the same way, okay? The same way. That means I'm going to divide 240 divided by 4 to find the unit rate. This will give me 6. Okay, this will give me 0, and that way we know that every shirt will be 60 less. Okay, so at the end we are able to identify the unit rate for each one. This one is 70, this one is 80, and this one is 60. That means at the end, the best deal is this one, okay? Because every shirt will be 60 lempiras, or in other words, the unit rate will be 60 over 1, okay? And then, here we have a little review of what I just explained. Here we see that an example of triangles and squares, the 3 ways we can write it, just the way it's written over here. You can write it this way, you can use words, or you can use a fraction. And the way to say it is, there are going to be 3 triangles for every 2 squares, okay? Just the way it says it here, okay? Here we have a review of rate. You can write ratios and find unit rates to compare quantities, okay? You can also convert them in unit rates, just like the way we just did. A unit rate will always have a 1 as a denominator. In this case, we're saying 2 cats for every dog. In this case, there are 37 jelly beans for every bag, okay? We're going to review a little bit also about comparing unit rates. And we're going to go a little bit, study a little bit conversion factors.